So, what are my thoughts on hell? Hell is an idea that has been thrown around since religion has existed, and I'm sure before. I'm sure that cavemen, Neanderthals believed uh, that there was a place that we could go if we were bad, if we did not act correctly towards our tribe, towards our people, towards our family. I'm sure that humans started believing that we would go somewhere to be punished long before it was recorded. This only makes sense because human beings would believe anything, believed it far before it was recorded. But there is an argument to be made that uh, when religion started to be recorded, that there needed to be some kind of logical logical reasoning behind the fluid nature of what was written down to make it fluid. My thoughts on hell in general are that it doesn't seem like a place that anybody would go just for some common sin, some common uh, transgression, some basic some basic crime against either humanity or God or gods or the spirit. It seems like a place that somebody would go if great punishment was required. And the only way that God would send somebody there would have to be for a great crime. Otherwise, God Himself would be quite a terrible being. I mean, sending somebody to hell to either burn for eternity or burn for a time or be in pain for a time or be in pain for eternity. That's no joke. And when we think about eternity, we have to realize the time scale. A trillion years is nothing in the face of eternity. A trillion years times a trillion years is nothing in the retrospective of eternity. Eternity means infinite time. From whenever you go there until, well, infinity and beyond. And it's a terrible idea to think that God would do that to somebody just because they've committed crimes within a finite span of life. Even if the life was 500 or 1,000 years, you could commit no crimes so terrible in that 1,000 years to where you would get trillions upon trillions of years of punishment. I don't even think Satan himself would get a trillion times a trillion years worth of punishment. And that's still a finite number compared to infinity. And when I say Satan, I'm talking about a lot of people's idea of the counterbalance to God, the bad guy, the one on the other side. I'm Hindu, so I don't really believe in Satan per se. I believe in that there is a consciousness that counterbalances God, but I think it's composed of relative magnitudes, just like God is composed of different gods. I think that multiple things compose Satan. It's like consciousness, I guess you could say. And whether we call him Satan, Lucifer, whether we call him Maya, Mara, we're all talking about the same thing. People can argue about what evil force actually exists and what God exists, but I believe that we're talking about the same thing. And this is my understanding of Sanatana Dharma, the eternal religion. The religion that we're all a part of and that we've always been a part of. But hell, getting back to hell, the punishments there. There's this increasing idea in modern times that your personal hell is what you will experience when you go to hell, if you go to hell, for eternity or for a certain amount of time. Your personal hell, the worst time in your life or the worst thing that can happen to you. And this, just because it's been popping up more in pop culture now, or in theories now, or in spiritual teachings now, it doesn't mean that it hasn't occurred. As far as a theory, hasn't occurred before. It has occurred before. The idea of a personal hell for oneself. It's occurred hundreds of years ago. It's just interesting that in pop culture it's been popping up a lot more now. In shows like Lucifer, in Preacher, it's another TV show, and other shows and other songs even. And I think it's due to our natural awakening. We're starting to realize just what the deeper nature of hell and heaven is, and reincarnation and karma, and what this world is, and our relation between different religions and spiritual systems. We're starting to realize all these things, and the nature of cycles, of yugas, in the cosmic scheme, means that this knowledge is uncovered and is periodically. It's not uncovered by certain people and it just happens because people find it. It's because this knowledge is uncovered periodically. So the knowledge of hell, of Lucifer, of Satan, of Mara, of Maya, of and of course the side of good, the avatars, their connection, and the connection between the different religions, the connection between different spiritual traditions. Tribal beliefs are starting to make a comeback. Asa truth. A lot of runic traditions are starting to really find proof for their systems, and a lot of enthusiasm for it. And runic systems are usually Northern European, Viking, if you will, Nordic, Saxon, Anglo, even. Of course, we have Danish and what have you. But and then also voodoo. People hate it when I say vodou. Say voodoo and voodoo are making a comeback. The spirits are being given attention once again. The spirits are able to pierce this realm a little bit better, and we're starting to see the connection between the idea of dimensions and these realms that we've known about in different spiritual systems for a long time. It's starting to be connected to the theory, the scientific theory of dimensions proposed by physicists, and the idea that there is infinite dimensions, just like there's infinite magnitudes of color. You have red 3.1, 3.11, 3.111, what have you. But I'm not the best mathematician or scientist, so I'm making it very simple because I understand it simply. But hell is not a joke. It's not something to be joked around about. Oh, he's going to go to hell forever, so screw him. Or oh man, I wish he was Christian. I wish he was Muslim. Whatever religion you might be a part of. Hindus don't really believe hell is eternal, but I'm sure there's some Hindus out there that do. But the idea that, oh, well, he's going to hell forever, so I really shouldn't care about him, that has more to do with the ego, like I talked about in my last video, the ego that we've chosen correctly, our traditions are correct, and anybody who disagrees with them is obviously going to hell, and haha. And a lot of the time, most of the time, when somebody thinks that, the vast majority of the time, it's because of the ego. It's not because of the actual religion and what they want to believe in that religion. But the kind of punishments that happen in hell, I could go into them, but it's not really relevant. It's Paramahansa Yogananda, and well, I heard this through Swami Kriyananda, his disciple, said that hell is not a place of fire. It's a place of darkness and fear. And that makes more sense. Eternal burning seems too constant to be a state of affairs in any dimension all the time. But fear and darkness, that seems like something that could exist for everyone in those dimensions, but the pain being felt, the fear being felt at different times, based on what's happening in that dimension and where that person is, how that person acts even in that dimension. And that has to do with more even the person's actions in that dimension as compared to just being punished, but person's actions in that dimension as well. You can conquer fear in hell. You just have to learn how to not be afraid. You can conquer pain. You just have to learn how to not reflect on it and let it turn in your mind. So the pain is lessened to such an extent that you just see it for what it is and realize you cannot have an effect on it or what you need to do to get away from it. And that applies to the hellish dimensions as well. This has been kind of a rant. I just wanted to give a few thoughts on hell, a few thoughts that I have on hell. And I hope that I gave you some ideas as far as what other people believe about hell and how either makes sense or doesn't, or maybe you just found this interesting. But either way, if you like this video, if you find any of it interesting, hit that thumbs up down there. If you want to comment, that would be amazing. Shoot a comment down there. As long as you're polite, I'll reply to you. And I'm always looking for more subscribers, and I take requests from subscribers a lot of the time. So thank you very much for watching, and conquer fear now and here. Conquer ego now and here. And find yourself now and here. Thank you very much for watching.
There must be some kind of way out of here, said the Joker to the thief. There's too much confusion now, I can't get no relief. No reason to get excited. The thief, he kindly spoke. There are many here among us who feel that life's a joke. But you and I, we've been through that, and this is not our fate. So let us stop talking falsely now, the hour's getting late. Princes kept with you, while all the women came and they went, barefoot servants too. Outside in the cold distance, a wild cat growled.